This is the unveiling of Samudyam, the Inclusive Entrepreneurship Collaboratory. And I would like to invite on stage Mr. Shashanta Patra, Senior Vice President, Development Alternatives, to kindly take the dais. So I hand over the charge of the proceedings to Pat, please.
Thank you so much. I guess it's okay if I pull down my mask here, just to make sure people recognize who's speaking. Thank you very much. In the interest of saving some time, I sort of slipped onto the stage while you were speaking. Apologies for that. Thank you all for your patience, not just the people who are assembled here in the room, but we have quite a few people who've connected through Zoom. I will not take much time by way of introduction. I'd just like to hint at the idea of Samudyam that's actually developed very rapidly in the last month and gained some momentum in the last week. The idea is very simple. There are organizations doing great things, hugely innovative processes that have been put into place to make a difference in the lives of people, particularly those who want to become entrepreneurs at the grassroots. And at the other end, we have really strong mainstream processes that have had impact at scale. So the question was, can we build an effective bridge between them and not have each organization try to build that bridge on its own, but somehow come together to be able to do so. And in that journey, there are a few people who've given us not just encouragement, but a lot of inspiration. And I'd like to invite them to the stage here. First of all, Shri Vijay Mahajanji, can we drag you back onto the stage? From the moment we got in touch with Vijayji while writing the and Kanika and Vrinda, of course. Thank you, Vijayji. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, yeah. From the moment Kanika and Vrinda, who are co-authors of one of the chapters in the State of India's Livelihoods Report, and I started interacting with Vijayji and colleagues at Access Development Services, we were guided, mentored would probably be a better word, in terms of looking at issues that are critical to rural entrepreneurship in particular, in our case, but then all the issues that entrepreneurs are confronted with, the really small entrepreneurs. In fact, we hesitate now to use the word micro entrepreneurs because we're talking about even smaller ones. So thank you, Vijayji, for being with us. Kanika, Vrinda, thank you. Vipin Vipin's provided, I don't think he's back in the room yet, we'll call him. And of course, we have a few people with us who'll join us through Zoom as we go ahead. So with those words, may I hand the baton over to a friend, a colleague for the last 30 years almost. Vipin, thank you. Please, if you could take your seat. Prema Gera. Prema is with us on Zoom. Prema has been a friend of not just one program that we're running at Development Alternatives, Work for Progress, but has helped us shape the entire range of initiatives that we're taking within Development Alternatives. Prema, could I invite you to say a few words before we get into the substance of Samudyam? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat, and thank you for your kind words, and a very good afternoon to all of you who've joined us today. As Pat said, the idea of Samudyam has originated...
Prema, just hold on for a second.
Better?
Yeah, Prema, could you try something now?
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's much better. Thank you.
Is it better now?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Pat, and for your kind words too. A very good afternoon to all of you who've joined us today. As Pat said, the idea of Samudyam originated during our conversations with colleagues and while writing the chapter for the soil report. And as a community, we all recognize the value of small businesses in the lives of people. Most of us work with micro entrepreneurs. We also know that there are nearly 63 million micro enterprises in the country, and most of them operate as own account units, generating at times an additional informal job and some unpaid work for a family member. We also know the person behind such an enterprise, the entrepreneur, who faces so many obstacles at every stage of starting up, surviving, and growing his or her business. And when this entrepreneur happens to be a young woman or a man and from a socially disadvantaged group, then additional obstacles emerge. As we look at the decade ahead, we know that jobless growth is expected to continue. We need to therefore identify pathways for micro enterprises that offer higher earnings and more jobs and are increasingly opportunity driven, and also to prioritize an upward mobility for millions stuck in low-paying informal jobs. At the same time, Vijay Mahajan shared on the first day of the Livelihood Summit that there will be 90 million young women and men entering the workforce in this decade, and that in 2030, 18 million will be unemployed. India will therefore need to generate 120 million new livelihoods for this group by 2030. And most of these new livelihoods will need to look beyond agriculture and formal jobs in the private sector or government. And so here is probably the biggest opportunity. We have to reimagine entrepreneurship and enterprises that are job creating establishments that are not only necessity based, but are also linked to high growth and new age sectors, standalone or those linked to value chains, and spread across small cities, district towns, peri-urban areas, and villages. What was also reiterated during the two-day livelihood summit yesterday and day before was that there's an urgent need for all of us to come together to create an enabling ecosystem for the millions of enterprises and entrepreneurs, especially women and youth. We also heard of several experiments and efforts that are underway to address different challenges and emerging opportunities for promoting entrepreneurship. While it's important that we need to share our knowledge, insights, and resources with each other, it's even more important that we collaborate with each other so that we can induce a systemic change in the way we approach and support entrepreneurship. And this came up again in several sessions during the summit. The change, of course, will have to be experienced at the level of entrepreneurs as their aspirations and ambitions find an enabling ecosystem to start up and grow their businesses, and also in the vibrant microeconomies that hopefully will be more equitable. With this new resolve that we practitioners, policymakers, and funders have made to reimagine what we do, 2021 could mark a new way of working and thinking, and Samudyam could be one of the new ways that we could co-create together. Samudyam is therefore being proposed as a collaborative cum laboratory, hence a collaboratory for inclusive entrepreneurship. It's still being conceptualized, and we would like organizations who've gathered to it today and also we are in touch with to come forward and join a working group to give it a more concrete shape. We've put some initial thoughts together for Samudyam based on the conversations we've had, and I request Kanika and Vrinda to share these for your inputs and for shaping the way forward. Thank you. Kanika.
Thank you so much, Prema. Can we have the presentation, please? We've just prepared a short presentation that might give you a flavor or a snapshot of what Samudyam is about. Our apologies for using a word that actually doesn't exist in the English dictionary, which is a collaboratory. We were sort of expecting that. How do you sort of come together? The word collaboration is in the word, but at the same time also it's a space, it's an emerging space for innovation and all the wonderful work that a lot of people are doing. Next slide, please. So not to take too much time, but we foresee Samudyam as a collaboratory for thought leaders, change makers, and innovators, not necessarily looking at a solution going to scale or a few sort of change makers on their own, heroically looking at taking the solutions to scale, but together, all of us, building or taking up the challenge that I think we've all been hearing about in the last 2 days of tackling the joblessness and the livelihoods grants that we have. Next, please. Hence, we have a initial idea of a vision, but we're also hoping that once everyone joins hands, we'll be able to get your thoughts into the vision. But we've set a target for ourselves to at least set up 1 million new inclusive enterprises every year to tackle the crisis that we're foreseeing, made even more complex by the pandemic. Next. So, not to spend too much time on data, because I think Prema's already alluded to it, but we have a huge challenge. And the reason we think that, this concept is something that could sort of respond to the challenge is because, there are people who have the ability, who have the aspirations, but are not able to sort of go or move towards entrepreneurship. And through the collaborative, we could support them. We've created this, as you can see, a spectrum of movement that we believe of people who are actually more on the red side, who will be able to move towards entrepreneurship, which is focused more on aspirations of all kinds of people in the society, and not just on a few people who currently hold entrepreneurship. Next. Which is why we would like to prioritize what we call inclusive entrepreneurship, which, as we foresee currently, is a phenomena which can look at creating a deep systemic change, which will enable a lot of unrepresented groups, women, youth, specially abled, even the unemployed, to come into the purview of entrepreneurship. I've had the privilege of working with the lady on the screen, and she, I feel, is really the face of what we're talking about in terms of inclusive entrepreneurship, with absolutely no background in entrepreneurship, with her own initiative, supported by, just in terms of encouragement by her family, was able to not only increase her family income by setting up an ice cream manufacturing unit, but also has employed 15 employees in her enterprise. This, we believe, is the face of inclusive entrepreneurship. Next, please. I'll take you through the series of mandates that we feel that the collaborative could sort of tackle. One is to build a shared infrastructure. It's almost like an organization of organizations that we foresee the collaboratory building. And to really deeply co-create strategies, and not use the word co-creation just for the way it's being sort of, it can be loosely used, but to really look at co-creation where there are conflicting objectives, where there are change makers who don't agree on strategies or the approach towards livelihoods, but we can find a common ground together, facilitated by a lot of tools and processes that can sort of come about. Next. But it's also very, very important that the collaboratively make sure that it's grounded into the voices of the community, not only just on the problems and the weaknesses, but very much focused on the aspirations and the strengths, to prototype the solutions where we could really unearth, not just, sort of scratch the surface where we, go and deliver a solution and come back, but how do we sort of learn from the failure, which, can be absolutely wonderful in terms of, learning new ways of working. How can we take some of the innovations and build it together? How do we sort of connect changes that are happening in the micro and the macro environment together at the meso level? So very much focused on next. What we would like to is build collective intelligence. Currently, my enterprise development is very much focused on a vertical sort of approach. We have schemes, it gets delivered from the macro meso to the micro level. But could we look at it from a horizontal point of view, where we have an ecosystem players coming together and strengthening sort of this whole space of entrepreneurship? Next, please. And I think we've also heard a few speakers in the past talk about it. I think the positioning of the collaboratory at the meso level with such actors is also important, that we'll be able to not only communicate at in the macro space with the larger fora based on evidence and data, but also look at what are some of the innovations that can be mainstream or can be adopted at the large scale level. Next, please. Hence, we think that the approach of the collaboratory should have a few functions that would be critical to make sure that the vision or the mandate that we set out for ourselves is possible. One of them is of being a sensor, sort of doing collective sense making of what are the emerging spaces. Do we need to ask a few questions to ourselves? Are the models that exist that have been transformative, do they still seem relevant? What would be the, in this new dynamic space of artificial intelligence, where does the self-help groups or the federations lie? What would be the safety net in the future? I think we'd also like to amplify a lot of the voices that exist in the space who I think are doing phenomenal work, but sort of get lost in the many sort of solutions that are out there. I think the third function that we foresee is of a processor to collectively look at all the learnings and the knowledge that we're building and package it into sensible, what we call intelligence packages that can then be used or can travel to different contexts. Because currently most of the solutions are very, very contextual driven. We also see ourselves as an analyst and enabler so that the ecosystem space can be sort of built together. And then most importantly, also as an influencer at the policy space. Just to sort of take the abstractness of away from what we're saying would be the systemic change. We thought that the systemic change would mean a shift at three particular levels. One would be a behavioral level, which would be a shift in behavior of organizations, of agencies who are working in entrepreneurship. Whether we look at more bottom-up solutions, co-creating the solutions with the communities, look collectively at the whole informal to formal transition, maybe a hybrid model in between, or look at ourselves trying to figure out how do we build a collaborative ecosystem? What does that even mean for all of us? At the ecosystem, there would be a shift required in terms of how we disseminate the support services to entrepreneurs, building on their strengths. There are emerging sectors. There are changes happening in the market. What does it mean for all the actors to come together where financial flows or information flows become stronger? At the third level, at the policy level, how do we leverage the existing policy architecture? How do we make sure that the voices of the many micro entrepreneurs that get lost in the segmentation currently that we have are part of the framework? And how do we make sure that we are able to sort of look at the government infrastructure and scale some of the solutions that we're building currently? Next, please. So I'll leave you with a thought, and I'm hoping our colleagues next will also sort of build on it. That Mamta should not be an outlier. We've had decades of these wonderful examples that I think are just waiting to be sort of not become isolated examples, but also examples that can happen to make all of these sort of agents of their lives, their community, their families, and not expecting someone else to come and solve their problems, because I don't think that's the future. We'd like to call them what inside is entrepreneurs of hope, because it's this self-actualization of change through millions of these entrepreneurs that is going to be the future. So Vrinda, if I can just sort of put you on the spot and ask you to add a little bit from the chapter to build on what you think would be the most important point of view.
Thanks. Just to sort of give a flavor of what we sort of are thinking about. From the chapter, we got a few insights about how behavior, policy, ecosystem sort of comes together. An example is Mamta, but at the level of influencing the local system is technology or logistics. We know that young entrepreneurs, even women entrepreneurs, want to work with new and emerging sectors. There's national level data that shows that logistics and technology and e-commerce are really important sectors, especially in the aftermath of the pandemic. And some of the experiences we've had on ground have shown that the network of common service centers, for instance, that the government has, you can overlay information, you can combine them with the aspirations of young people and sort of really make them new nodes in the local ecosystem to support entrepreneurship, while creating dignified livelihoods for the people who run them. Early evidence shows that these informational hubs, entrepreneurs earn about 2 lakh profit a year, which is more than 90% of the CSCs that the government network has. So yeah, I think just to sort of re-emphasize what Kanika and Prema have shared is that we realize that collaboration, innovation are some of the two keywords that are really critical in this process. And I think that's what the vision and the mandate of Samudyam is, bringing together collaboration and therefore a coalition of people who can initiate change. Yeah.
Thank you, Kanika. Thank you, Vrinda. A round of applause, please. Yeah. Things were getting a little quiet. I just wanted to point out that it was a pleasure for me and actually a much larger team to work with Kanika and Vrinda on writing the chapter on trends in micro-entrepreneurship that's part of now the State of India's Livelihoods report brought out by Access. I'm conscious of the fact that time is running out. And so without much further ado, I'd like to invite Shri Vijay Mahajanji to share his thoughts on Samudyam, which I think it's also very important to point out is not an entity yet. It's taking shape. And we just thought that we'd use this opportunity to share the idea with you and hopefully build some momentum around the idea. But Vijayji, thank you very much, please, for being with us. And
Shashank, Vrinda, Kanika, Prema, and if I may also say hello to Aloka on the screen, Madhu, Ketan from Pradhan, Aloka from HSBC, Madhu from Pradhan, and Anish was there a little while ago from Transforming Rural India Foundation. Oh, Anish is there. There were supposed to be several others who actually sent their endorsement, among others, the basics, Sub-K Impact Solutions and Be Able Vocational Training Company. The attempt has been to try and bring as diverse a platform as possible to create this new collaboratory is the right word. No need to be apologetic, Vrinda. Whenever we do something new, we have to give it a new name because language is a way of expressing what we know. And if we're trying to create something new, there's nothing wrong with a new word. So collaboratory is the appropriate thing. And because we'll be dealing with the world of entrepreneurship, and therefore we need access to capital, we need access to technology, we need access to markets, of course, and many other things that entrepreneurs have to do. So it's going to be very, very important that this does not become a federation of NGOs trying to promote income generation activities. We don't need one more of those forums. This has to be a 21st century collaboratory, and therefore it has to be. In fact, I would say we should not even register it for 1 or 2 years. Let it be just an internet-based entity. Let it grow like Wikipedia. Let it be a wiki, actually, rather than an entity. and let lots of people, contribute to it. But the goal is really to take Mamta, the Mirzapur entrepreneur who makes the Amruta brand of ice creams that Vrinda talked about, and I read about her in the report, to make, if I may just remind you of a recent incident in the Indian capital markets. The most successful issue, the most successful IPO ever in India's history was Mrs. Bector's, a lady who started a baking business from her home 35 years ago, just had an IPO about a month ago, which was oversubscribed 195 times. So there are two lessons there. First is that not all big things start big. Many big things start small. We suffer from this corporatism view of entrepreneurship, that you need big bucks to do anything in this world. Eventually you do, but you can start micro, you can start small. The second is that women like Mrs. Bector and like Mamta can do it. And they're probably going to be the leading entrepreneurs of this 21st century. And the third, of course, is that we need access to capital and to technology. And therefore, the collaboratory being sort of supported by HSBC on the one side, and many tech companies on the other, would be very, very useful. And of course, I want to thank Vipin and Access for continuing to be the platform of platforms. Samudyam itself is hopefully a platform. And APMAS, as we celebrated earlier, is a platform, and you have created, you're becoming a second order, a platform of platforms, and that's very necessary, basically because we need to create functioning institutions to create more functioning entities in this otherwise dysfunctional nation that we've sort of arrived at. So with that, I want to wish Samudyam a happy birth, and thank you very much for involving in this. Congratulations.
Thank you, Vijayji. With other partners, organizations, and hopefully a growing number of individuals, we'll make sure that it is a 21st century entity and not something of the past. I forgot to mention, Kanika and Vrinda had given us a glimpse into the mandate, the possible functions, the kind of work that we'd like to do in the Samudyam Collaboratory. But once again, to emphasize that it's a work in progress and will remain so for some time. In fact, probably the main reason why we're having this event today is to seek everyone's involvement in shaping the collaboratory, because that's, I think, the most urgent need now in the next few months. And we hope to have, several working group meetings, get in touch with people physically, virtually, etc. But with those words, it's my pleasure now to invite Vipin to say a few words. Vipin may not remember, but I think it's about 20 years ago now, after the Gujarat earthquake, we used to get into a few arguments over work that we were doing in the CARE earthquake reconstruction project in terms of what works and what doesn't work and how it should be done. But it's a moment of great happiness, has been for the last couple of years since we've been collaborating with Access Development Services in the Livelihood Summit, for us to come together now in what could be described as leadership roles to try and shape new initiatives. But thank you very much, Vipin, and as Vijayji said, for being a platform of platforms. If you could share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, again, few words. Firstly, I'd like to say that we are extremely privileged that Access has an opportunity of helping to seed another big idea And from the presentations that I saw and from what Vijay said, I think we are spot on with the mandate. And in the State of India's Livelihoods Report, Vijay has already identified that we have a huge challenge of creating 12 crores of new employment by 2030. In our own small ways, we try to do something towards that, but whatever the civil society does, it somehow doesn't just add up. So in 2009, I had the occasion to be in a program at Yale School of Management. And one new word that I learned there was called co-optation. There's a very famous professor in Yale. Name is very complicated. I can't remember it. But in the latest Harvard Business Review, that whole article on co-optation has come. So within civil society organizations, we do our little things, and competition is what we keep doing. But I think we can actually achieve far bigger objectives, far bigger results, far bigger outcomes if we were to look at collaboration as a bigger idea within the co-optation. So while you cooperate, you can also compete. So we compete with APMAS, but it was such a privilege to felicitate, CS Reddy today. Similarly, I mean, on several occasions, since we are all individual entities, we might be competing with DA elsewhere. But then there should be another way for us to come together. And I think from the report that I read, the chapter that I read in the soil report, there is very little enthusiasm for becoming an entrepreneur within the community. So they're all looking for jobs, but very few. I don't remember the numbers, but in your chapter itself, I think there is a survey where, 3 people out of 100 may want to actually become entrepreneurs. So we have to, I mean, if we have to create jobs, they will not come out of government, they will not come out of corporates, they will come out of people wanting to become entrepreneurs themselves. I've said it ad nauseum to my teams that when in China they do skilling, when in India they do skilling, they teach you how to repair a mobile phone. But when in China they want to do skilling, they actually teach you how to make a mobile phone. So that's the difference. And very, very happy in whichever manner Access can be a part of this wonderful initiative. I think very much needed. And maybe this is just warming up on the idea, but once we settle down, look at the mandate, look at the ambition. So we are talking about creating through this alliance or network or whatever about a crore of jobs by 2030, which itself is a fairly daunting ambition that we have set for ourselves. How we do it, I think, is more important. So absolutely great that in an Access platform, another big idea has been launched today, and very happy to associate in whichever manner we can as Access. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vipin, and thank you in particular for highlighting how the work we do, not just as civil society organizations, but also as the government, private sector, even within academia, it cannot anymore follow an additive logic. Our efforts need to follow a multiplicative logic so that the results, the impact that we have is significantly higher, at least an order of magnitude, or maybe even 2 orders of magnitude higher than what we've been able to achieve thus far, because the country needs it, the world probably needs it. I would like to invite, and my apologies for not doing so, there are about 40 or 50 people who've connected on Zoom right now. I can't say what the exact number is, into the room, so to speak, in addition to all of you here. Thank you so much for being with us today. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to invite Aloka, Madhu, and Anish into this conversation. you're three people who from the moment, and it probably took something like, 27 seconds into, what I was saying, when we talked to you first, that you said, yes, this is something that we must do. And short of making a commitment, I think you've endorsed the idea and are looking forward to giving shape to Samudyam. So may I invite you, Aloka, first to just share a few thoughts on whether we're doing the right thing or maybe what else we need to do as we go ahead. Thank you. We'll have to switch to Zoom. Aloka.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Am I audible?
Thank you.
Okay, great. No, thank you very much. I would have loved to be there in person, but hope to see all of you maybe soon. So we'll do with being, speaking virtually. Very quickly, of course, I've heard, we heard, and I was also logged in when the APMA session was going on. So great to hear about all the work that's being done. And we're really privileged to be a part of some of the work that's been done in the sector as well. I think as far as the collaborative is concerned, I just wanted to make 2-3 points. One is that, the only way we've seen in many of our programs is that collaborative is the only way to scale as far as India is concerned, because given the way we are structured, that's I think the only way to gain the scale that we want to achieve. And Vijay Mahajan actually pointed out that, that's something that we require in the coming days. Of course, a lot of work has been done, but a lot needs to be done. I just wanted to highlight 2-3 things. I think we're at a time now where there's some interesting changes that's happening. One is, of course, tech change. That's something we have to take into account. The other is that also the companies have started thinking differently. And in one of the presentations, I heard about the value chain piece. And of course, we already work with DA in that space. But I think companies are becoming very, very conscious about where they source their products from, where they source their material from. And I think that creates a huge amount of opportunity to connect the grassroots with the supply chain of companies. So that's another area that I thought will be more and more prominent in the coming years. And the last thing that I wanted to highlight is that a collaborative, I think one big part of the collaborative will have to look at the private partnership. Everybody talks about private-public partnership. And this is something that I spoke even yesterday at a session. But I think for to achieve that scale, it's very important that, the private partnership is also kind of pushed to the next level. So I'll stop here. I just wanted to keep it brief because I know we are standing between lunch and this session. So over to you. And of course, looking forward to being part of Samudyam in whichever way we can. Of course, Access has been a very great partner of ours, and so has DA. And of course, look forward to partnering with many other organizations. Thank you. And over to you, Pat.
Thank you, Aloka. We started rather late and we're trying to move along as fast as possible. Anish, may I invite you now to share your thoughts?
Thanks, Pat. And first, congratulations on putting this most meaningful initiative. It couldn't be better timed. We are in a world of appearing and disappearing enterprises, both due to demand and formalization is creating a churn. The inbound and outbound youth migration that we saw, the digital play, 21st century needs and demands like green economy, circularity are all challenging opportunities. I speak from my experience with rural areas. The long-run trend of demand surge in villages and small towns, in spite of the COVID slump, I see that continuing with new aspirations, communications, and connectivity. There has historically been multiple efforts from government and private sector focused on entrepreneurship and small business for economic growth and inclusion. Programs, schemes, policies, seeking to increase and support are virtually omnipresent, dime a dozen, and many suggested best practices you will find. However, I am not aware of a good template we can follow. And that I think is necessarily will require us to unlearn, innovate, experiment, and be ready for failure. And that's what I guess Samudyam is all about, collaborate and laboratory. And in this, I firmly, my experience is no one organization or no one sector will have all the solutions, and there won't be silver bullets. While we'll need it, 120 million, is a daunting number, but still there won't be a silver bullet. We'll need to bring in our collective force resolve to look at entrepreneurship also afresh, as Vijay was saying. I mean, Edmund Phillips, as only he can write, it has to be sparked by millions of minds, stirred, empowered to conceive, develop innumerable new products and services. And that has to be by ordinary people throughout the economy. And this will require a national movement of putting frameworks of tapping into grassroots dynamism, grassroots innovation, incubation at mass scale. We'll need a new mindset, a process to discover the little entrepreneur sitting in each of us. And maybe, and we don't know that that's latent, it's silent. We'll have to, discover that. Increase social acceptability to risks and failures, various instruments to mitigate the variability of income flows that goes with entrepreneurship. The preferred option is jobs. We have to discover methods for self-exploration, surface latent and unmet opportunities. we are looking at some of them to co-create this new collaboratory, and that's important. The language is very important. The new collaboratory is between the private, as Aloka you said, but private and state and community. Unless we look at the community, we'll not be able to create the dynamism of mass scale. The progress we make in unshackling the mass scale, animal spirit will determine how we are able to deal with this and address issues of rural-urban economic distress, soaring, mismatching youth aspirations, underemployment, unemployment challenge, and which we must know in these troubled times is integrally linked to social strife in our society. Can't thank you enough, Kanika and team. We have been working together, and we at Transform Rural India are in many ways scared, also excited, challenged, and humbled with our nascent engagement in this space of entrepreneurship through our Center for Mass Rural Entrepreneurship and our various partnerships. The second line of engagement, which also you alluded, is focused on youth. And it is a combination of unemployed, unemployable, and underemployed. And this is what I call the frustrated, educated local youth. And you have that as a large number. This is the fuel, and it can go either way. To my mind, there cannot be a bigger misery when capable also lose hope. So our programs of Yuva Compass, where we are partnering with DA, the Global Opportunity Network in Ramgarh, we would like to offer to the collaboratory this as a live lab to experiment, try out new things. We are very excited to be part of this collective, and I would urge you to aim big, but approach it with the humility that this challenge poses before us. The intellectual depth you laid out, Kanika, is now the onus is on us to imbue it with energy, passion, and so that together we turn this very hopeful moment into success. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you so much, Anish, and for reminding us of both things, that on the one hand, you have mainstream initiatives that are omnipresent, was the word I believe you used, and are a force in themselves. And on the other hand, you have sparks of innovation. And that, in a sense, is what the collaboratory would probably be all about. How do you, make connections? How do you use these sparks to influence change across the system in the mainstream? I believe there might be a way to get a few comments. Again, we probably just have about 5 or 6 minutes in all that might be coming in on the chat or people to speak, because we thought it would be wonderful if we hear from some of the people who have tuned in or from some of the people in the room here. So let's see if we can organize that. To set the ball rolling, Madhu, any thoughts uppermost on your mind? If we could just hear from you for a minute or two. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pat, and thanks to the DA team, Kanika, Vrinda. So we're working together on this, and coming from Pradhan, where we've been working, I would say, farming is of course one big enterprise, but we realize, our work is mainly, I would say, livelihood enhancement spirit and approach. So in the times of COVID, when all these, the huge number of migrants coming to all the areas where Pradhan works, and these are source areas of migration. So, I mean, one was, on the one hand, really vested with the idea of, creating enterprise opportunities. But, at that time, one realized that this is a long haul. It needs to start. I mean, one really needs to, it can't really, can't be a switch on and off kind of a thing. And at that time, this point really drove home in the, the urgency, the imperative of actually triggering entrepreneurial culture and spirit. So really happy to be involved in what is a very important initiative. And I also see Kanta in the list of attendees, and really working together, I mean, in the UN Women Supported Second Chance project with the DA. So where, we can actually make some of these come alive. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to welcome Satish from Sadhan into the room. Satish, very briefly, if you could share what you might see in Samudyam or imperatives that you'd like to point out for us.
Yeah, congratulations on this effort. As Vijay was saying, that this has to be a new age 21st century platform, because we have all been doing entrepreneurship development for over the last 3 decades. And we have been successful to some extent, but not fully. But I think we'll have to see how on its own stream we can enable this platform to take this, I think, the goal of creation of so many enterprises at the local level forward. And in this, as Sadhan is a collective of institutions providing finance, both for-profit financial sector.
Sorry, I think we've lost Satish there. Big button? Yeah, we've lost Satish there. We will, it's just been pointed out to me that we're totally out of time. And I apologize, for having to sort of bring this to a close. But with that apology comes a commitment. We'll be in touch with not just everyone who's been with us here at the venue today, but everyone on Zoom. My apologies. Ashok, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. We were about to close, and I can't think of a better person, bias notwithstanding, of having worked with you for 33 years. But I would like to, in just a minute or two, if you could share a few words on the potential of possibly what we could achieve through Samudyam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. I'm sorry. I've actually been listening to the entire conversation, juggling it with another conference that I was involved in. But I think it's incredible what we've achieved so far in this exercise. I want to thank all the speakers. We've really actually made some major inroads into our thinking about what needs to be done in order to create the livelihoods that this country needs, particularly for the disadvantaged, the women, the youth, the disabled, and all the people that got left behind. And I think today we've launched a process that is going to make a huge difference, because it brings together all the modern technologies of digitization, of internet and communication with the basic need, the fundamental, most important basic need, which is creating better lives and livelihoods. Livelihoods that bring out the best in people, take account of the fact that not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, take the risks, mobilize the resources, but the few that do can create large numbers of livelihoods for large numbers of other people. So I want to thank you all for this great initiative and for taking it along with such a positive and constructive approach. So thank you, Pat, for giving me a chance to say a few words. I don't want to keep you all from what you have to do next, but I'm glad that this is now on its way. And congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Khosla. Thank you. Which brings us to the end of this session, which is not really an end. I shouldn't have used that word because, as I think everyone has pointed out, it's actually the beginning of the process. And in the next few months, we'd like to give more concrete shape to what Samudyam will look like, what it will do, who will be involved, etc. With the 3 or 4 organizations that have already come together, we'll be reaching out to all of you. To end with, I'd like to once again thank you, Vipin, and your team, with whom I think we've had extremely fruitful partnership, collaboration going on. So thank you, Vipin, for letting Samudyam share the stage. I guess it's not us anymore. And Vijayji, thank you once again. As you know, we've shared, Vijay Mahajanji has been the inspiration, has provided unflinching support, encouragement from the time that the idea first took root in the minds of the people who've been involved. But thank you very, very much, and thank you all for your patience for being with us here today, either in the room or virtually. Thank you.